So 8 years ago from actually this year, well, that would make 8 years ago, yeah. So 8 years ago, I met this gentleman in person, Cary Fowler. And Cary was giving a speech in Korea. Do you remember the speech?
I do.
You do?
Well, I don't remember what I said, but I remember being there.
You know, I actually learned about you from an NPR interview. And I'm not sure what it was. Maybe it was Fresh Air or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was fascinating because of your passion all around something that most people kind of overlook, and that is biodiversity. You know, what's really going on with our planet. And you became so passionate about this that you've done something that's fairly ridiculous.
Yeah.
You built a vault inside the side of a mountain in a place that most people have never even heard of, let alone took me almost a year to pronounce it, and it's Svalbard. See?
That's very
Yeah.
good. You did it.
When was the first time you were here?
I was here 10, 11 years ago, something like that.
But how did you even find this place?
Well, I knew about it because the Nordic countries were storing some seeds up in a coal mine here. So I lived in Norway.
Okay, being Norwegian, you would know about this. It's ironic. We were sitting in, or coming in through customs, and we're asking the customs guy. We're told him we're going to Svalbard, and he goes, "I've never been to Svalbard." I go, "You've never been there?" And he goes, "Well, it's kind of like people that live in Disney or live in Florida have never been to Disney World." And he goes, "I've been to Disney World 7 times, right?" Here in Norway, where most people never even come here. It's just a beautiful, beautiful location.
Yeah, it is. And most Norwegians have never been here. So
Why?
I don't know. It's ironic because they have a strong emotional attachment to this. They believe it's sort of part of Norway. Norway, has sovereignty over this.
So it's really not a Norwegian country, or per se. It's governed.
It's governed by Norway, but it's not part of Norwegian territory. So you're on an international flight when you come here from Norway.
Yeah, I noticed that too. But everyone speaks Norwegian primarily. Here, at least in this city,
Yeah.
we were in a Russian city that was about 4 hours away via snowmobiles.
No roads connecting that village.
And finding the location we're going to, did you spec this out, or is this where the island said it would be the most optimal place to put the vault?
Well, I wouldn't be qualified to say it goes, here rather than there. But we looked at a couple of locations. In fact, we looked at one over in those mountains over there.
On the other side.
Yeah.
And why did that one pan out?
Well, in the beginning, we thought we would sort of around the corner here is where we were thinking about it. We thought about putting it in a location where no one could see it. It'd be sort of secret. Then we realized this is a tiny little Norwegian village. There aren't any secrets.
Everybody would know. I know.
Everybody would know. You'd have to know. So that was a stupid idea. We abandoned that quickly. But I'll show you another place in a few minutes when we're driving up the mountainside here, where we thought the seed vault would go in the beginning, but that turned out to be a bad location because it was near a coal seam.
What are each one of these little towers that we're seeing?
These are towers that where they were stringing up cables, and they had little carts that would go along these cables and take the coal from the coal mines down here to be loaded on the ships that would come up right here and take the coal out. It's very high quality coal. Some hundreds of millions of years ago, Svalbard used to be where France is now, and there are actually dinosaur tracks on the shoreline around here.
Yeah, things basically stay here once they're here. I mean, because there's no plants to remove them. The weather is basically, it is consistently like this. Either it's cold or hot, but it's not even warm in the summer, is it?
No,
It's only like 10 to 15 to 20.
It can be quite chilly in the summertime. It can snow any day of the year.
Any day.
It has.
Have you been here in the summer when it snowed?
Yeah. I've been, yeah, absolutely. I took a boat around most of Svalbard in late June, and it was snowing a number of times.
So is there any place where you're standing on the island and it feels like you're not on the island anymore, where it feels like somewhere else? Or does it always feel like Svalbard while you're here?
To me, this is Svalbard. When you see the kind of mountains, I've never seen this sort of shape of contour of mountains anywhere else in the world. It's really quite odd. So I always...
How were they created, the mountains?
I don't know too much about the history of that.
Nice job. You're building a $500 million vault and you don't know anything about the history.
Not the geological history.
could see this from the airport.
Yeah.
As you get off the airport, which I thought was actually pretty cool. PR-wise, this is like the talk everywhere we go. Everyone talks about it around the world. You know this, right?
Well, they say, the Norwegians say that it's the second most recognized structure in Norway globally.
What's number one?
The Holmenkollen ski jump.
Oh, okay, the ski jump. And why is it so difficult to actually visit this, to come in here?
Well, it's not a staffed facility. We
okay.
designed it that way, and we want it to be secure, and so it's not a tourist attraction. We allow very few people in.
Would it help to be a tourist
No,
type of
because
location?
I think it would. It would help on the public relations side of things, but the institutions that really count on us to provide kind of fail-safe security for their seed collections wouldn't care for that.
So how often are people coming up here on an annual basis?
Only 2 or 3 times a year.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's when you're here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you're only here a few. Matter of fact, rumor had it that Hillary Clinton tried to come here and you weren't here.
She did visit. And I wasn't around yet.
So she wasn't able to go into it.
No, we have had Jimmy Carter.
You have? Jimmy Carter's been here.
Jimmy Carter,
Wow.
Rosalind Carter, Ted Turner. They flew in on the same plane. Madeline Albright, a few others.
Actually, Madeline Albright's pretty cool.
Yeah. I thought Jimmy Carter was.
Yeah, of course. Did he find it to be pretty impressive? Come on.
Absolutely. He's
Carter gets it.
He's a most gracious person, and not only is he a farmer, but part of his farming was actually to produce seed. So he was a seed producer.
Parking's
So
at the limit. It's very limited here. Come on, we have to.
This person.
Hey, you know what?
Brian.
Okay, you know this person.
Yeah.
This would be a good makeout location, you know that? If you're a teenager, let's go make out by this seed vault. All right, we're gonna be going inside. Cary, let's do it.
Why not? Beyond a certain amount of money, it's required to have a certain percentage, either 1 or 2% of the artwork. That includes highlights. So you'll see sculptures and various things along the highlights. So this is the artwork. It was made by a woman named Divika Sanna, northern Norway, and it consists of hundreds of these plates, which are glass plates. That sort of shimmer and a lot of LED lights below. And her idea behind this light sculpture, by the way, wraps around the top. So if you walk up a little bit on the mountain, you'll see that there's a light sculpture at the top. In the light, in the daytime, it would reflect the environment, but it would also reflect the people standing in front of it, and you should reflect upon your responsibilities. Currency at that time, it was cost $9 million to build. The Norwegian kroner is depreciated. It would cost $5 million today. Same structure. Oh, you don't lock it?
You don't lock it yet.
There's somebody there already. We will lock it when you guys get in.
Oh, wait a second. Hillary Clinton just texted me. She wanted to know how this happened.
How's it
No.
going? So, we're in the portal building, what we call the portal building now, and the staircase leads up to some electronics and to the compressors up there and the machinery working the lights. Let's see, this little yellow cart here is how we've gotten all the many tons of seeds down into the seed vault.
Are we
Everything-
wearing helmets?
Technically you should, but I don't like to myself. It's some kind of regulation. Yeah. So, one background story for this is that almost everything you see here there's a lot of built-in redundancy. In case something goes wrong, there's always a backup system.
Oh.
And we wanted to make everything simple and cheap to run, efficient, because we realized that if it were complex, if we had a lot of complex systems here, and if we had a lot of expensive systems here, it would not be sustainable. Sustainability has to do with economics, not just technology. So that's what we did, and that's why we have a hand cart rather than some type of forklift.
Oh, that makes sense. There's a power.
So, Brian, ready to roll?
No. Do you live here? No, I'm kidding.
More or less.
So,
Is that ice? No.
yeah. So normally, like this is a backup generator. I'll just show you a few of the
Oh,
redundant
the redundancies.
features here. As you can see, it doesn't seem to go on very much. Now, normally this is a locked door, which you have to have a card, and then you punch in your code.
But not today.
Today, we're going to go all the way through. Now once we go all the way down to the seats, we'll have gone about 130 meters into the mountain, and when we get down there with the seats, we'll be about 65 meters from the top, 130 meters in. And this first section of the tunnel is built with what they call Svalbard tube. It's something they use in the mining up here. It's incredibly strong. I mean, just be my guest. Test it out.
Yeah.
Thickness here. It's pretty strong.
Yeah.
And that's because this first part of the tunnel, we're now into the part that's excavated, is not permafrost. It's concrete structure here.
What is this room called?
I call it a cathedral room.
You call it the cathedral room, okay.
And the purpose of this is that there's only one entrance and exit to the seed vault. You just came down it. So if anything bad happened, if a plane crashed out front or somebody fired a missile or something in here, it would hit this solid stone part of the mountain. There's no vault room behind this. You'll see with this door, there's 3 vault rooms. One down there, one here, and one offset here.
And this was
And so
designed purposely
this was designed for that purpose, and if there were a lot of force here that would have to go somewhere, we want to channel it back out the front door rather than around to where the seats are. So we built 3 vault rooms. I did the estimates for how much diversity existed, how much room we would need to store the seeds, and I estimated to be safe, we really needed space for about 1,500,000 samples, 500,000 samples. Having been wrong before in my life, the decision was made we'd double that, so we'd have room for 3 million samples. But during the construction process, for structural reasons, they decided to make the tunnel part a little bit more narrow than first anticipated. And the contract for making this facility had to do with how much material was excavated, sort of cubic meters of excavated rock. So that reduced the amount of rock going out of the seed vault, and that enabled us, for the same price, to build a 3rd room for free. So now we have a storage capacity for 4.5 million. Whereas I don't think that'll ever be used or ever be necessary, but we've got it in any case. In other words, it's part of the redundancy.
It's too cold out here to cater events.
So it's, you'll see here's kind of appropriate technology, but we'll see that we are at -5.
-5.
Here. And by the way, these you're going to see this all over inside the seed vault, but we have these wires running at different depths into the mountain, and we have a little machine in the office there that you can plug in here to measure the temperature at different depths in the rock, so we can monitor any approaching warmth, or we also know how much we're freezing the rest of the mountain. So you can tell by looking at that door down there, and this door, and that door, where the seeds are. Because what we're doing is freezing this room behind the doors here, and think of it this way, we're freezing the entire mountain over here. And so that room, if you go into that, is about -9. -5 here, -9 here, and then you go over here, -14.
Is it because of the seeds that are in there require a certain type of cooling?
Well, -18 is the general standard for seed banks around the world,
Mhm.
and we wanted to provide storage conditions that were equal to or better than any other seed bank in the world. And the reason for that is very practical in management terms. We don't want the seeds here to lose viability quicker than they would from the depositing institution. So in other words, when the depositing institution sees that, well, our seeds aren't germinating quite so well anymore, we have to take them out, grow them, multiply them, get fresh new seeds, they will send more seeds to us at that point.
Okay.
But the seeds here will not have deteriorated faster than that. So we'll always be in sync with them.
Cary, what is this coated with?
It's a plastic impregnated concrete that was just sprayed over here. It just keeps the dust level down. It's not a structural issue.
Got it.
It's just keep the dust level down. It makes it brighter here. It's nicer to demonstrate. It's white rather than dark. So, varieties of wheat, thousands of varieties of other things, and crops you and I have never heard of before. 900 and something genera, 5,000 and something species, about 500 seeds for each sample. Probably 500 million seeds in here.
500 million. Largest crop diversity in the
So,
planet.
if you're ready to get cold,
Let's do it.
I'll whisk you through. You won't want to stay there too long, but you do want to see it.
Come on.
Quick, guys. Get in there.
So, in just a second, you're going to start to feel the chill in the air.
Yeah? Okay.
So here is the major part of the big rice collection. You'll see some gaps in the shelves here. That's the collection that went back from the Syrian situation. And I want to do a quick run through, if you don't mind, but you'll have to stay close to me.
Yeah.
And just point out things along the way. It'll give you a sense of the scale, what's here. You getting there?
Oh yeah, I like it.
So this is the National Collection for the United States. It's from Fort Collins, Colorado. Up here is Seed Savers Exchange. It's the largest organization in the world of amateur gardeners. They have a little gene bank in Decorah, Iowa. So thousands of varieties of mostly vegetables.
What's the lettering represent on the top? The one
Well,
B?
this just gives us a layout for the room. So we have a database where if you see this box from the United States, it's got a barcode on the end of it, and that will tell us that this box is in row 1.
I get it.
in
It's
this
your own
position.
Dewey Decimal System.
It's
Yeah.
an inventory system
Got it.
for us. And of course we know what samples are in each box as well, and we know the characteristics of each of those samples basically. So here we go. And here's the collection from Korea, South Korea.
So does each place decides their own box?
Well, we gave them specifications for the boxes, and in many cases we supplied the boxes for them. On this side, we've got some material from the Nordic Gene Bank in Seattle in Colombia. It's mostly a large bean collection. Taiwan. Over here is Switzerland. These two are dear to my heart. This is a collection from Kenya and from Pakistan. They came in on opening day. The
Oh.
gene bank managers were really keen to get them here because if you go back and look at the papers, what was happening in Kenya and Pakistan
Yeah.
8 years ago, they were having civil unrest, and the gene bank managers were scared about what would happen to their collections, so they wanted them here quickly to get them safe. You can see the Canadian flag here, so you know where that's from. And Germany, Switzerland, I might have said that. Large wheat and maize collection here. Here's a box from the Sudan. Tel Aviv University. Peru. A lot of different countries here. Ken, everybody should take a picture here. I think it's the prettiest place in this room.
Oh wow, this is amazing.
Oh, that is amazing, actually.
Cary should be like